So first, Squadron 42, sort of tell you kind of where we're at on it. Squadron 42, like other things, like we just showed you Spectrum. And by the way, the one thing, just to segue back to where we were on that Benoit and John didn't mention is that the goal when we deliver Spectrum for the first time is also delivering the next generation launcher, which has the new patcher, which will not be downloading gigs of data all the time whenever we do a small test. Which I think would help people out. I mean, if you got fast internet, maybe it's not such a big deal, but with data caps and all the rest of stuff, and it's also frustrating even for us when we're patching on the dev side. It's like you change one file and suddenly there's at least 2 gigabytes. So the new system's really it's exponentially better. It will only be bringing down things that change. So we're working hard to deliver the Spectrum and the new patcher for you before the end of the year. So I'm not going to give you any specific dates because I get shot when I do that. But our platform team is much more reliable than me. I'm an optimist. You have to be an optimist in this business. So speaking of optimistic, Squadron 42, it's significantly grown from when it was first pitched in 2012. So to sort of get you where we're landing at, because we're content and sort of feature locked now, we have what we call chapters, which is chapters in the story. There's 28 of them in Squadron 42, Episode 1, which is equivalent to probably about 60 plus missions. Most of our chapters are multi-part, so if you compare it to a Wing Commander mission, they're usually 2 to 3 missions in length. So there's flying around, down on foot, or talking to people, all sorts of stuff. Obviously it has an A-list cast that you all know about. There's a few people we haven't told you about that will be a surprise that we will unveil later on, because we have some other people that are part of it, which is pretty cool. We have 340 speaking roles in it, which is insane because most movies have maybe 30 or 40 speaking roles. And state-of-the-art facial scanning and mocap. We showed a little bit. I had a 10 for the chairman when we talked a bit about that, and we're really making great strides on that. And the goal is to be as good or better than anything else you've seen out there. Of over 20 hours of performance capture, which is not a small amount, and that gives you an idea of the play amount you're going to get when you've got that much of sort of people talking to you as well as action stuff. Dave and Will, who are, I think, here in this. Where are you, Dave and Will? Hands up. Over there. Okay. Incredibly talented. Wrote 1,255 pages and have been steadfastly there with me last year and this year shooting. And I have to say, they're absolute rock stars. I mean, we were. I think we only just finished writing all the stuff for Squadron 42 earlier this year when we were doing the final shoot, which we did earlier this year. But it's, I think, a really fantastic story, so I can't wait for you guys to actually experience it and play it. We have 40 distinct ships from fighters to dreadnoughts. There's a lot that you guys, there's Van Dole stuff and some other stuff that's in there. You've seen some of the stuff. You haven't seen some of the other stuff. We have some really beautiful handcrafted environments built by the environment team that we have, enhanced with some of the new procedural tech. So one of the things we've been doing is some of the new developments we've been doing on the Star Citizen front, we've been bringing back into Squadron 42 to expand the gameplay. I'm sorry, we just want to make the best game we can, and if we got stuff there, we're going to use it. So I shouldn't really apologize for that. Just do it! We're really working for systemic space and FPS gameplay. So it's not. So the idea is you do not just go one play path. It's not one scripted play path. You can approach different missions different ways. So do you want to go the back door, stealth it? Do you want to go kick the front door down and guns blazing? So we're building that, and the systems are all built systemically, and it is some of the same systems that we're going to be doing in the Star Citizen. We're going to, we're always going to have dogfighting in space, but now we're going to have dogfighting in planetary atmosphere, which is kind of a big deal. And we have the new tech, which we're going to be showing you a little later on here. And we have Subsumption, which is fully systemic AI, sort of next generation stuff. Created by the genius mind of Tony Zurvek, wherever he is. I don't know, he's hiding out somewhere here. And the big AI team behind it, led by Francesco Riccucci and his guys that are implementing most of it, and the designers that are doing it. But it's going to allow for, being, say, on whatever ship you're serving on, say the Idris or a Bengal, and the crew's going about their day, having schedules, doing lots of different things, fixing things. It's going to be very cool. All right. I will demonstrate clicking. There you go. See, I'm just pretending to click, and they actually do it back there. So as an update, most of our technology is now done. We have some key things still left. So subsumption is still the major one that we're doing, just because it's this whole new thing that we're doing, and we need to continue to work on the pathfinding, because it's not just pathfinding like you would in traditional game. We have these different moving ships. So like, for instance, the Idris is moving around in space while people are moving around inside it, which is a challenge that you don't normally get in most games. And that has to work. Animation integration. So we spent all this time capturing these actors at a huge amount of fidelity, and we want to make sure that the fluidity of the animation going between actions and everything doesn't feel sort of like the typical AI, which is like this, and then it then does that, right? So that definitely takes time. Improved combat logic in terms of the AI sort of working together and stuff. Integrating sort of, we had sort of an older mission system, which was more traditional, the old CryEngine Crisis way, but since we've gone more systemic and we've got subsumption, we're building another layer on top of subsumption to be able to do an extra level of systemic sort of missions, which you'll see in Squadron 42, but then that's actually the engine that powers what we're doing in Star Citizen that's even more flexible, and enhanced flight AI to sort of make them fly together as wingmen better, which is kind of sort of a bit about the improved combat logic. So those are all sort of things we're working on. So AI is a big thing that we really want to push to make the experience good. Object container streaming, I talked about object containers back in Gamescom. It's sort of how we can travel around these big star systems and bring in like really dense areas of information, objects, and then get them out. Because we can't, even if you've got a machine with a lot of memory, you can't keep it all in, you can't keep the video memory all in, so you've got to stream it in and out. And so that's the sort of technical challenge, and then we want to do some CPU and GPU optimizations. Click forward, please. There you go. So right now where we're at in Squadron 42 is all the chapters and gameplay features are at gray box or better. So gray box is when we've had everything blocked out, all the actions done. We've sort of balanced it for what we think will be fun or not, but it doesn't have sort of the final assets, the final polish, and things like the AI that I was talking about. We are currently taking one of the chapters of the story all the way to what we would consider final shipping quality. The idea would be to flush out all the technical integration and polish issues you would get with that. And that was actually, I gave an interview, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, probably spoke too soon, and it's saying, we're hoping to show you a Squadron 42 mission, and we're not quite there yet. So we got very close. The team worked really hard, but we don't want to show it until we say, this is what it's going to be like in the final game with all the polish. And for our standpoint, we don't want to show something too early on Squadron 42. We want to show the final stuff. So I know that's a bit of a bummer, but it's important because I think Squadron 42 itself is going to be a fantastic experience. But there is, work in progress. Star Citizen, yes, I think work in progress on Squadron 42. I don't really want to do because I am accused of being a bit of a perfectionist, but it does need to be a great experience. And well, I'm hopefully gonna show you something that will make you forget what I just said. So we'll see. Maybe not, but then you can just buy me lots. You can buy me lots of drinks afterwards, or I'll drink lots of alcohol or do something. But one of the keys is that and I think Aaron said it in the video, and I feel that way. Is we want to do it right. It's really important to do it right. What we're enabled to do by you guys is to do it right. Because if we were in a typical situation with a publisher, they would say, well, no, you've got to make the Christmas window, get it out, and da-da-da, and then you can patch it with you can do some patches, and then the DLC, and don't worry about that people won't think it's quite as polished or whatever, and it's got a bunch of bugs. And no, that's I don't think anyone, because everybody's, this is what you guys, it's what I want. I spent all this time. You guys have obviously spent a vast amount of time supporting and being there, and you know, let's make it right. Like, why spend? Yeah, because you remember. I mean, look, I got to tell you, I was, you know, there's quite a lot of things that, like, you know, I was like looking forward to Uncharted 4, and they're like, oh no, it's gonna be February, and I was like, oh damn it. And then I played it, and I didn't give a shit that I was playing in, like, whatever it was, March instead of back in November, because it was a fucking great game. And so, sorry, pardon my French. So that's really important for us. So that's my long-winded way of saying that as much as we wanted to have Squadron 42 for this year, is not going to be this year, because from the polish we need to do, it still needs a bit more time. But we will be showing you this final, this mission polish level in the near future. So, and I'm hoping that will be before the end of this year, but I'm not going to promise that because I get shot by people when I say that. Okay, so that's Squadron 42. Let me move on.